Greetings, folks.
Hello.
Hello, indeed. As promised, finally we've got some army showcases for you. We're going to try and put out one for each of the armies that are featured on the channel, and all we're going to do is just go through the models that we've got. I'm also going to talk about some of the models that aren't painted yet, and just give a general rundown on what the point of the army was, what the theme is, and Rich, in his infinite skill, will probably intersperse some photos of the army throughout the video. So, Charlie, you've played against this army.
I have. I'm here to ask annoying questions.
Please do. Yeah. Are you a fan of this army?
Yeah, I am a fan of this army. I mean, I played Dawn of War, as did many of us, when the first one came out, for which this chapter was invented.
Relic? Are they the guys who did
Relic,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
THQ, I think, as well. And I've played against this army a couple of times, I think. And it's always been very nice to play against because you've got a nice variety of units. But when did you first start collecting them?
I think I had a hiatus from Warhammer 40,000 and Games Workshop in general. Came back at the tail end of 4th edition, and it wasn't long after getting back into it that I started reading Horus Heresy novels. I was like, oh, these weren't around when I was into this before. And realised there was a game, Dawn of War, which I played, and I was like, this is amazing. Why wasn't this around before? But yeah, Blood Ravens, obviously the game Dawn of War was the inspiration for this army. I've tried pretty much to stick to, if it's not in the game, then it's, or one of the games, because there have been 3 now, plus the supplements, then it doesn't end up being in the army. Some of the war gear obviously is hard to do that with, and there are a couple of things that I haven't painted yet which aren't in the game, but mostly it sticks to the theme. Yeah, and that was the inspiration for it really. It's not painted as fully as I would like. It's not got any line highlights on it because just the sheer volume of getting something on the tabletop. It's not been something I could get around to doing, but you never know, one day.
Line highlighting though, it's always a bit of a bugger, isn't
Destroys the soul. Yeah. But yeah, and I've tried to put lots of the tactical assault devastator symbols on, and the Blood Raven logos. Probably can't see them that well from this distance, might see them better on the close-up stills. They're all actually done by hand, so they're all a little bit different because of my inconsistency, but there are no sort of transfers used or anything. Okay. So, where should we start? We haven't done one of these before.
No, I was going to say, I don't know whether we're going to do a more structured thing or we're going to be a bit more freeform, but we'll sort of see what you guys like and we'll see.
Yeah, so feedback on this would be really good because we're going to start putting these out fairly regularly now until we get most of the way through our various armies. This is one of my several Space Marine armies, so expect to see more power armour, but not much in the way of Primaris. Because I think apart from a few in my Deathwatch army and mono Primaris army that I'm working on that should be on the channel before Christmas, then yeah, there's no Primaris in any of my armies, and there will not be. They're going to
line in the sand.
That's it.
So, from my point of view, as someone who's never collected Space Marines, I'm very intrigued by is that the Land Speeder Tempest?
Well, this is a cut and shut Land Speeder Tempest. It's not the Forge World model, there's some subtle differences, but yeah, it's inspired by the Tempest, which in the game is the only flying unit available to the Blood Ravens from one of the expansions that introduced flying units. So yeah, that's the purpose of that.
It does look very nice. I love the closed canopy, that is a very nice touch.
Yeah, I think that is one of the cowlings off of a Godhammer pattern Land Raider twin las cannon. With the now you know.
Nothing's useless, is it?
That's it. You've seen my bits box, haven't you?
I have indeed, yeah.
So, well, I'll go through it in a sort of structured way if that would be more useful. HQ wise, starting over this side, he's an elite, sorry. We've got a couple of incarnations of Gabriel Angelos himself. You would have seen the power armour with Relic Blade chap in the last battle report. The other incarnation is pretty much just after Dawn of War 2's conclusion, which I think in the video at the end he ends up in a half a man with his limbs mostly lost to a greater demon of Khorne or a demon prince.
That usually tends to happen where greater demons of Khorne are involved, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Limb loss is an occupational hazard when around one.
Totally, and so it's just a conversion really with a few bionics with him wielding the Thunderhammer. Then we've got the Tech Marine Martellus, perhaps? I think that was his name from Dawn of War 2. And the captain of the Honor Guard, Apollo Diomedes, with his jump pack over there with one of his loadouts from the game. And then Jonah Ryan, the chief librarian over here, based on, is it Severin Loth? Is that
Severin Loth? That's his name.
Yes. Yes, so based on that model, but with a force stone. That's the HQs. There are a few other HQs in my pile of shame. There's a couple of librarians, the one from the Death Watch set, and then an older one who sort of looks quite like the librarian from the first Dawn of War game. And then I've tried to emulate the Terminator armour, Angelos, from Dawn of War 3, but then realised my effort was poor compared to the third-party and Games Workshop versions. So there's a couple of those that hopefully at some point will make an appearance.
Do you find they often do well for you in games and your HQ choices, or is it very much a case of like, I've got this buff bubble, this is all I do?
I guess it's hard not to play Space Marines that way. I tend to take Diomedes as a lieutenant because the captain of the Honor Guard is a bit of a sort of flimsy title. I'm not really sure what that is. It's not a
it's not fully promoted
title. Yeah. So he seems to fit the role of lieutenant quite well. I probably should say at this point how they're going to play in the new edition of the Codex, and I wasn't impressed with the White Dwarf Blood Ravens update. I don't know what they were thinking with that chapter tactic. It works reasonably well for Primaris, but not for anything else. So I'm actually just looking at the rules here. I'm going to take the 2 chapter tactics, which are Master Artisans. I think that fits with their relic salvaging and borrowing.
Yeah, exactly. They nick everything, so they've got all the best
Space
stuff.
Magpies, aren't they? But the other one that's perfect for them is Knowledge is Power. When a psychic test or deny the witch test is taken for a psycho model with this tactic, re-roll any or all dice rolls of 1, which I think is part of their...
That is part of their
chapter tactic anyway.
Which is very fluffy, really, isn't it? Very fluffy.
I can't see anything that fits them better than that. So that's how they'll be played. All right. Let's move on to troops, shall we? We've got some sniper scouts up here, and then we've got some more scouts down here. One of the models is a Dawn of War 2 character. I can't remember his name offhand. He's the scout guy with the long Timotei hair. Cyrus, yeah. So, and that was one of the themes I wanted in the army as well. The HQs, where possible, I've tried to make them look like characters from the game. We've got some tactical squads, and in my pile of unfinished shame that's off camera, some of these tactical squads are incomplete, but the guys leading them, let's have a look. This one down here is meant to represent the sergeant whose name I can't remember from Dawn of War 1. The guy who has the banner and dies atop the beginning. Yes, we all know that.
Great video game intro.
Fantastic, isn't it? That's when you watch that, you're gripped forever. Then this guy is a sergeant who's based on the what do they call him? Force Commander in Dawn of War 2. Again, the guy with very lovely hair. So who I believe, I think his name might be Aramis, but in the background he was a sergeant before. Captain Aramis.
That is a men's cologne if it's his name as well.
If it's perfect. And then where's the other tactical squad? It's down here, hidden somewhere. That's Sergeant Tarkus, who's a recurring character throughout Dawn of War 2 and 3. Spoiler alert, he's later revealed to be the Ancient in Dawn of War Retribution, who's actually modelled over here as well. And he also can get Terminator armour, so he's modelled over here as well. So multiple occurrences.
Tarkus has got a lot of bases covered, hasn't
he? Exactly, yeah, he's everywhere. And I think that's it for...
Because troop choices, if you're not using Primaris Marines, it does. You're operating at a bit of a loss, aren't you? But I don't know. I found certainly when playing against this army, I found the scouts very irritating to deal with.
Yeah.
And as you may have seen, depending on what order you watch everything, they did just basically one-shot a Vexillus Praetor in my Custodian army. So
the Smurf versions, yeah.
They do occasionally sort of pop up and do stuff, don't they?
Yeah, and I think I had a similar experience against your friend Tris.
Yes.
With his Magnus the Red. They did good work with a few mortal wounds and a flak missile in the game against him. So sometimes they surprise you. Right, moving on to the next category, elites. Let's have a look at the elite choices. We've got the Hellfire Dreadnought. For those who are not Dawn of War fans, Hellfire was a Dreadnought unit you could take, which was basically dual shooting, so it had a missile launcher and then either a twin las cannon or assault cannon. That is this gentleman. And then the venerable dreadnought, Davian Thule. Everyone loves Davian Thule. So, and also that model has served me very well in every game I've taken him in. So, soft spot for him.
That 2+ ballistic skill and weapon skill.
Yeah,
very good, very good.
Some Stone Guard veterans or company veterans, depending what mood you're in. They're over here. An apothecary, again I forget the apothecary's name. Oh, and I forgot the chaplain from the HQ. I can't remember his name.
That's a lovely
Nicholas
model as well.
Comes to mind. Yeah, lovely. From the sort of waning days of the original Marines before Primaris became a thing. I'm looking for other elite choices up here.
Got the Terminators.
Got the Terminators, yeah. Oh, and the Vanguard veterans. There we go. Now, what was the name of the guy who led the Vanguard squad in Dawn of War 2?
I actually never played Dawn of War 2. I know.
Charlie.
I only ever played the first one. The second one was a bit too small scale for me, I think.
Yeah, it was
honest.
very different. Dawn of War 1 still has a special place in my heart. It's Dawn of War 2. It's alright. Based a lot of the characters on it, but it's Dawn of War 1. Anyway, Thaddeus, I think was his name. He's got his Vanguard squad there.
It's a lovely squad, that. I absolutely love that you've modelled them
Yes.
sort of flying around on their
crotches.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Space Marines is not so much of a problem, I hear, but
we'll leave that to your imagination.
Yeah, Games Workshop do not comment on such things. But shove the dedicated transports in here. We've got a Rhino and we've got a drop pod.
Drop pods! We're going to use them more! Yes! Ha-ha!
Fast attack. I believe the Tempest is a fast attack choice because it's not really a flyer, is it? So, and then you've got the land speeder. Got an assault squad down here. I believe that's all the fast attack that you get.
To be fair, I think the assault squad, I mean, again, they're never going to be world beaters, but with the new tactical doctrine, those AP-1 flamers could do some work. And then also having the AP1 on the chainswords the turn after could potentially be good.
Well, I think there is another chapter tactics somewhere, isn't there? It's I've got the book in front of me hidden out here. I think it's long range marksman. Add 3 inches to the range characteristic of ranged weapon models.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
If you're dropping them in turn 2, you can use 2 flamers at 11-inch range.
Indeed, yes.
Flame as you come in.
And heavy flamers on Terminators as well. That is
Indeed.
really, that's really good.
But not for these guys because we've already chosen what they're going to do. Heavy support. We've got a whirlwind down here. I've tried to cut up a piece from the whichever Land Raider variant it has. The Hyperios.
Hyperios.
Yeah. So I've swapped over because the small turret emplacement had the big missile launcher. Helios, correct. Yeah. And then the larger turret emplacement that goes to the front of the Land Raider had the little sensor dome in it. So I've had to swap those over to fit different size holes, which was an utter pain, but it's got there in the end.
And you did manage to use, if I recall correctly, in your last battle report with Rich, a stratagem I've never seen used before, which is the one where you have to have the whirlwind and the land speeder, and you auto hit.
That's it, and I don't think it did anything.
No, it didn't do anything. But it was very exciting.
Never got to use it, and now we know why people don't.
Yeah, exactly. Lesson learned.
Predator, love Predators always. That's the loadout I typically bring.
Does look great as well.
Yeah, maybe with a Hunter Killer and a Storm Bolter, but yeah, love them. And then Sergeant Avitus's Devastator squad with a sort of improv cherub over there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Very nice. Classic loadout as well, with just a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, I love that. It used to be that you had to take Devastator squads as 4 of the same because you couldn't multi-target things. A couple of editions ago, I hated that. And now that you can shoot everything at everything, it's much better game.
It's a lot more interesting, doesn't it?
Totally, yeah. I think we're almost there then, aren't we? I can't see any units that we haven't covered, I don't think. Yeah.
I mean, we've got into the sort of the new changes in the Space Marine Codex that was released very recently in our game that we've just done. But I mean, for this particular chapter, for this particular army, do you think there's anything that's standing out to you as being a particular improvement to them from the Codex?
Not particularly for them. I like the fact that I can mix and match chapter tactic to find, because they're specifically written in the book as being a unknown founding. Therefore, you're not bound by anything.
1,000 suns though, secretly.
So yeah, being able to say I hate that white dwarf tactic, I'm going to take this one because this is how I think they should be played is brilliant. They haven't really got much choice for relics because half of them are Primaris and the other ones are the relics they had before, so they can't really take many new relics. The Warlord traits are slightly different, maybe a bit better. But yeah, I don't think they'll play any differently apart from just the general improvements of being able to use the Doctrines and Shock Assault, which should make a huge improvement anyway. Some of the stratagems, which I haven't really got to grips with yet.
I mean, tilting things a little bit more towards combat, seeing those assault squads coming out and actually maybe doing something, and the Terminators, I think it'll be interesting to see when we play them again.
This is it. I think HQs aside, when I played the last game, I can't remember. I took a brigade, that's for sure, but I can't remember what point level we were playing. Was it 1750 or 2000?
I think it was 1750, I think.
Yeah, it might have been 1750, but there's not much in this army that didn't feature in that battle report. I think the Stern Guard and the Drop Pod and some of the characters, and the Vanguard are probably the only things that didn't feature. So at 2,000 points, I could pretty much field most of the things you see here. Looking at the pile of yet to be mades over the back, I'll just recap what they are. There's about 15 tactical marines in there between the tactical squads and Devastator squad to make them all 10-man. There's a Rhino chassis, a Godhammer Land Raider, and then a smattering of characters. So the Terminator Angelos, a couple of Librarians, and then the ones that wouldn't have been in the game but I just included because of completeness. There's a Imperial Space Marine, the guy with the whatever it's called, the disintegrator gun. An Ancient and a Champion.
Oh, I do love that Land Raider. I love Land Raiders. I think they're amazing. They're so cool. They're not very good, but they're so cool.
Well, hopefully the next time these guys come out, I'm going to make it my aim every time something gets a repeat appearance on the channel to add a new unit to it and get through the pile that way. So the Godhammer, Land Raider and the Librarians are up the top of that.
Gives us a good incentive to keep painting, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the way to do it, I think. I don't like to paint everything in an army, as you have gathered. but specifically, I don't like to sit down and say, I'm going to paint everything that I have in this army. I like to paint something to a target for, say, a friendly tournament or an appearance on the channel or a game.
Fun and fluff tournament.
I'll try.
Yes.
But I think it's nice to have something left for that army, because otherwise it becomes a bit stagnant. It's just sat in the box. There's nothing really, because I don't really want to add anything more to it. At least I've got things I can still paint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's getting there. Well, I don't know, we probably talked for quite some time, haven't we? I don't know if this was interesting to watch. Feedback is much appreciated.
Yeah.
I'll give you the usual sign-off that Rich does, and that's if you like it, then say you like it. If you don't like it, then don't say you like it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Subscribe, share, and
like
comment,
and enjoy, hopefully.
We'll probably... I think we've used a loose structure for this one. I think it makes it more interesting just to use a loose structure, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if it's sort of if you guys want to see us talk in depth about more of the units, we're happy to do that. But we just thought that brevity might be a bit of an advantage early on, and then we can tailor things depending on what you want. So,
yeah, awesome. Well, that's it then.
That's it.
Ta-ta
and farewell.